Hi there and welcome back to my kitchen. I'm here with Lynda Norman, the Executive Director of the Kelowna Arts Council. See, I almost got through an introduction without walking into a wall. It's starting to be kind of an inside joke about how I can't get through an introduction.
Right.
But I got your name right. I've known Lynda for years, so that's how I can say her name. So where did we meet? Do you recall?
Oh my gosh. That's a good question.
Was it before that wacky picture down
Oh yeah, it was before
in the grapes?
wacky picture in the grapes.
Renee was saying the other day that she found that giant stick for you. You remember that
Yes.
big
Yes.
forked thing?
Yeah, it was perfect.
We'll have to, Renee, are you able to insert the picture in there if I give it to you? Awesome.
I'd just come back from a trip to Portland with my son to the Highland Games.
Oh my gosh.
And they had all these vendors, and that's
Yeah.
where I got that cape from.
Yeah.
And I just thought, oh, that is so amazing. I would love to just wrap up in that cape.
Yeah.
And then I got it home, and I thought, where am I ever going to wear that cape? And then you called, and I thought,
I gave her a place to wear her
there we
cape.
go. It was perfect.
Yeah, it was an editorial picture about something of Lynda's inside person, perhaps Lupe.
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
Is that a mystic name? I don't
It
know.
could be. It could be. Sounds wolf-like.
It does.
Yeah. Mm. So, in your role with the Kelowna Arts Council, what are you all about? What are you doing, and what is that all about?
What is that all about? Kelowna Arts Council is a grassroots nonprofit organization. We're run completely by volunteers. We're fluid in the community. We don't have bricks and mortar. And our role, for the most part, is helping people connect with resources.
Okay.
If there are projects that people have interest in and there's something we can do to help bring that together, whether it's sourcing out venues or collaborators, we're happy to do that.
Oh, that could be really, really helpful to a lot of people, especially in the beginning of their journey where they don't have the connections.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's important for a community. We're all creative. And we all, I think, need an outlet for that. And if you're unable to source that on your own, it's nice to have a safe ear to bounce some ideas off and find out what's available, what can work.
Yeah, and I would say that you are very safe here because I've spitballed things to you and said, what do you think of this? And you've never, even sometimes what I've been asking you about is a little bit loony, but you've still treated the idea with great respect and sometimes bumped the edges for me so that it makes more sense and I can talk to a funder or somebody like that with better wording. A lot of it sometimes is like, are you using the right words?
Right, it's the approach sometimes, and it's, I know myself as in doing the things that I do creatively, sometimes you get not lost in it, but just so immersed in it that it's hard to see from someone else's eyes. It's like writing your own bio.
Oh my
right?
gosh.
That's the hardest thing for
So
anybody
hard.
to do.
Yeah.
But you hand it over to somebody else and they give it back to you and you go, that's me. Like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's like, is it a lie? No.
So we're not AI, we're KAC. We can help you with those things.
Helping artists since when? Since 2000?
2012 we incorporated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. So that's a lot of years to be able to meet a lot of people and have so many connections.
Yeah, we've had busier years than others, and of course over COVID things were really quite quiet.
Oh yeah.
But we're gearing up now to start new projects in the community, and there's been a few things that we've been sort of doing behind the scenes all along.
Okay.
And
all right.
yeah.
So other than just phoning you up, like I would do, like how do people connect with you and the organization? Website?
We have a website,
Okay.
kelownaartscouncil.ca. Kelowna Arts Council 1
Oh.
at gmail.com. Sorry, it changed. So, but if you go to our website, kelownaartscouncil.ca, you'd certainly find the contact information there. Or you could just contact me too.
Okay. And you'll post when you have something interesting going on?
Yes, we have a Facebook page and an Instagram page.
Nice.
And So I try to keep the Facebook page updated. If things come across my desk that I think would be of interest to anybody in the creative community, and that's, you know, an arts council typically is considered someone or an organization that looks after visual arts, a painting, you know, it's a group of painters.
Right.
We are open to whatever creatives come our way. So poets, dancers, musicians,
Nice.
and the collaborations that we can help.
I've seen
You know.
some very wild things happening at the Marmalade Cat back in the day, and
Benvolin Heritage Church in Reed
that
Hall.
hosted that coffee house, right?
We did our coffee house there twice a month for 8 years, I think, before we moved over to the Marmalade Cat Cafe, and then we continued there every second Wednesday, I think it was, we were doing it, and we were able to pay their feature artists.
Oh,
and I
that's
think
nice.
I said something on my own channel earlier, and I was way off on my numbers, but I'm pretty sure we paid close to 700 feature performers.
Wow.
To step up on our stage for just a small half an hour usually performance is all we asked. And then the first part of the evening was open mic, and we saw, I think, close to 4,000 people step up and do whatever it was that inspired them at the moment. We had an 80-year-old woman contact me and wanted to do comedy all her life.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I said, by all means. And she came out. We were just floored. She was amazing.
Wow.
Made her night, made our night. It was just brilliant.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of my favorite memories of living in Kelowna have been with that coffee house and the atmosphere that you and your team were able to create.
It was safe, encouraging.
Yeah, really inclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it felt very lo-fi, like it was
It was lo-fi,
real
but we celebrated.
and authentic.
You know, everybody that stepped up on that stage was celebrated.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I started to bring in artisans that I would meet out in the community who I could tell, you know, sometimes they were just feeling a little bit unsure about how to present.
Right.
And I would invite them and give them a space with the provision that they had to stand in front of the group, of the audience, and say just a 1-minute elevator speech about themselves.
Yeah.
So that sort of mentored them to get them to that point where they could do a little self-promotion and feel, you know,
That's really,
they could present the way they wanted to be presented.
yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of times as artists, especially when we're self-taught, we have this huge imposter syndrome. And so if we're going to give the elevator speech, this 1 minute, hi, I'm Wendy, I'm a filmmaker.
Right.
Located in Kelowna, I feature food and wine as my main focus. To say, hi, my name is Wendy and I'm a filmmaker was a huge hump for me. It took me probably 15 years to say I'm a photographer, more than that to say I'm a portrait specialist.
I know, isn't that crazy? I felt the same way as an artist.
Yeah, it's so hard, isn't it?
You know what? And I think we've all, like we talked earlier, we're all born creative.
Right.
You know, we need to celebrate that, and we don't need to wait for other people to celebrate that for us. We should be just, you know, getting that out there in whatever way we can and enjoying it.
Well, you had such an amazing space. Now we can maybe talk about some memories of that. I'm going to just briefly note that you see we have food in front of us because that's what we do here. It's like we make food and then we hang out and talk. She's got some tea, we've got some water. So no wine involved today, which is almost a rarity.
Well, and I appreciate that because I have a liver condition apparently that I'm not allowed to drink any longer.
Good
so not that I drank much to begin with,
but you're Scottish. How are you going to do this?
Well, there may be a workaround. I'm not
Yes.
sure. I'm not sure.
Genetically, you're
So
programmed.
we're going to cook something really healthy today that I'm, you know, I'm feeling really good about adding to, you know, keeping in my diet. So
It looks amazing and we've got great colors going on. So as we cook, I'm going to ask you more questions about stuff you're involved with because you
for sure.
are everywhere. Like you do a lot of stuff.
You know, when I wake up in the morning, my little brain says, every day is Lynda's adventure. What's going to happen today that I can call an adventure? And it doesn't have to be earth-shattering. It can be the smallest thing, but it's a little adventure, and it just makes that, you know, makes that day special.
I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. So there's a take home. You can put that on your mirror, write it on there with a dry erase. what will be Wendy's little adventure?
I recommend it, you
Yeah.
know, and I think what that helps do is sort of just leave a little bit of an opening for things to come and a different appreciation for things that come.
Have you heard of 100 Days of Wonder?
No.
Yeah, it's kind of like I think it's mostly an Instagram thing, but it's you pick, like if you're going to do painting, you're doing and showing, sort of like what I did with the editorial
365
portraits.
days, yeah.
But it's a shorter amount of time. It's about a third of the amount of time, and it's cultivating wonder in your everyday life. So I would think, like, just living in this area in the Okanagan, there's so many things that if you open yourself up to the awe of nature,
Absolutely.
yeah, you're going to be
Absolutely.
endlessly inspired.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, even trying
sure.
to take bird photographs. Have you tried photographing birds ever?
Yes. With my iPhone, we have sparrows
hard.
nesting on our deck.
Yeah.
And so I'm there every day.
Nice.
They're getting so used to me. One flew right into my stomach the other day.
Like through your mouth?
No, just out of their little, out of the birdhouse into my stomach, and then
That's weird.
sort of backed off and then flew away. Came back with some stuff in its mouth and continued to build its nest.
Were you
so
reflective like a window? Like how does it not see you?
I just was in the way. They're on a mission.
This is the way I normally
Yeah,
go.
they're on a mission. They're building their nest, and I was just there with my
gosh.
camera, being, you know,
There, always.
there.
Okay, tell us what we've got going on. You tell me all the parts and then what they're going to go together to make.
All right. We'll get the steelhead in the oven first of all, so we'll prepare that. Steelhead is one of the fish that is really high in omega-3s, all kinds of omegas, all the omegas,
All the good stuff.
all the good stuff. And when I was diagnosed with this liver condition, stemmed back from a very high-fat diet.
Okay.
You know, that's how I was raised. You know, meat and potatoes and creams and cheese and all
Right,
this
right.
good stuff. And so I had to rethink a bunch of things and spoke with a nutritionist, and she said a salmon, a high-fat salmon, which is steelhead, is basically a trout, but it's on the fattier end for the omegas.
Right.
Twice a week, which is a bit.
Okay.
I'm working on that. Once a week we can easily do. Twice a week, just you know.
Yeah.
But
Take some palate adjustment, probably.
Well, a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I like a little variety, so we try to change it up. But I've come up with this plan of cooking the steelhead. It's quick and easy. The steelhead, once I've got my coating on it to help keep the moisture in, goes in the oven at 365 for 20 minutes. While that's happening, I throw all the ingredients in the quinoa. We've got cucumber, and I like to use the little mini cucumbers.
Oh,
I
cute.
like the crunch, and I like
They have a different texture.
a little bit different.
Yeah.
And in the summer, if you can get the Persian cucumbers
Persian.
from, Donna Ray's Market, and some of the other markets will have a Persian, and that's got another texture and taste, which is really quite lovely as well, but
Oh.
always fresh.
Huh.
And I was told that a cucumber, if you ate a cucumber a day, you would get pretty much all of the nutrients and the benefits that you need. So
You're kidding. I always felt like they were just you know,
water,
just fun.
just water.
What
Right?
is it here for? Just for a good time.
Right, exactly. So we'll put those ingredients together while
Nice.
the salmon's in the oven, and so steelhead. If most fish markets where you go to buy your wild caught steelhead, will debone for you, which is really lovely.
And it's trustworthy?
It's trustworthy.
Oh, good. Because
Yeah.
it's sneaky, though.
Well, often they'll miss one, but you know, if you're not averse to handling the fish, if you sort of just gently
Okay.
allow it to maybe just
Fan a
little
bit?
fan over your hand, they will go pop
Oh,
up.
okay.
Like they're not very good at, you know, being incognito. Like, here I am. So, but yeah, easy to deal with, and they'll portion it for you, most of them, and it's really nice and lovely to
Oh, that's great.
to work with, and it freezes well. So you know, if you don't want to make a trip twice a week to the fish market, you can load up and
Oh,
portion it and
wonderful.
put it in the freezer, and it thaws quite quickly.
That's
So it's
important.
easy to do.
Because if you forgot that you're doing anything because you've been painting all day.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Everything in my life has to be sort of at a faster pace. I look after my grandkids,
Yeah.
and so that keeps me going
Oh.
and finding time to do all the other things. Sometimes, you know, I just have to lock them into little minutes here and there. So
Right.
my painting style is quick and simple. My cooking style is pretty much that way too. Don't very often use a recipe. Been cooking for a lot of
see?
years. Yeah, the measuring the recipe.
I'm speaking to my husband there. Look,
yeah.
look. Youth, respect her. You think she's amazing. She doesn't use a recipe.
If you know what you like to eat, what tastes good,
Yes.
then adjust that accordingly. You know?
Yep. Preaching to the choir.
I like lemon. I like garlic. So this is what we'll work with. So I've probably got a bit more mayonnaise than I need here. And this is mayonnaise. It's not Miracle Whip. It's a mayonnaise. It's the savory, not the sweet. And I've chopped up there's probably about 3 large cloves of garlic here.
All right.
And I'm going to save about 1/3 of that for our dressing, for our salad. So I'm going to put lots of this in. It does mellow out when you're cooking, so it smells pretty pungent right now, but it'll be
I
it'll
love
be
the
really
smell
lovely.
of garlic. I'm always sad when people are trying to eradicate it.
And lemon zest. Oh, lemon juice and lemon zest. So I put...
How are you zesting that? You've got like huge strings.
Yes, I have a lemon zester. It's about the size of
Okay.
that hand, about 6 inches
It's got
long.
the little
And
holes.
it's got little holes on the end, and I just peel it around. And so you can make them as shorter as long as you want, right?
Yeah, I love these. They look
so
very
they're
artistic.
Yeah. So again, I'm going to put some of this in our dressing, but I like to have a lot of it on the fish.
Hey Renee, you can put lemon zester on the list for Mother's Day.
Oh, Mother's Day's coming sooner. And I like to just add a tiny bit of lemon juice just to help it mix together. And then seasonings. There's all kinds of seafood seasonings that you can use. We can't use labels, but if you ask at any fish store, they will give you some options.
Okay.
And this, my daughter has been sending me, and I found it here in a dollar store.
No way. It's amazing what's in those
And
places.
it's a brand name. So
Okay.
anyway, it's up to you. You don't have to put anything if you don't want to.
Okay.
These both will have a little bit of a heat to them.
Oh,
Not
nice.
that you would really taste it, but so I like to put lots in. So probably the equivalent of half a teaspoon. And then mix that so that it's nice and together. And that's it. That's as simple as it is. You could use, you could probably use sour cream. You could certainly use yogurt if you didn't want to use a mayonnaise. Or you could mix a little bit of each. You're not really going to eat the mayonnaise afterwards. It's just it's a coating, and it will any fats in it will burn off or melt off. And so I just cover them liberally.
Okay.
That keeps all that nice
Yeah.
moisture inside the fish.
You don't want it dried out.
Yep. If you want salt and pepper, you can add that on your plate later.
All right.
But I never do. I just find because it's mixed up, I'll use it all.
It would be extra great.
It'll be extra yummy. Right?
Oh, nice. There's a little naked spot
Is there a
on the
naked
side.
spot?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's naked and afraid on this side.
all right, we'll get that all covered up.
Gonna take care of
And
your
that's it.
steelhead.
It's ready for
All
the
right.
oven.
I'll pop it in and set the timer for 20.
20 minutes.
Okay, here we go.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I brought one of my favorite salad bowls. It was a gift to me probably 46 years ago. So is it after 25 you can consider things an antique? I don't know. I have a bowl also, and 2 bowls in my kitchen that belong to my mom.
Oh, nice.
And a set of salad spoon and fork. And so every night when I use them, it's like she's having dinner with us.
Oh, I love that.
And
That's
my mother-in-law
nice.
as well. She's no longer, physically here, but I have a little knife that came from her kitchen. So she
that's
helps me.
nice.
She helps me prepare dinner every night, and it's like having them there with me.
Oh, that's so sweet.
All right.
So what are we going to do?
So what we're going to do is get some quinoa. I cooked this this morning. I let it cool. I suppose you could do it warm, but then I think your veggies might start to get a little sad.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like to be too warm. This is tricolor quinoa from the organic section,
Nice.
but you can use any kind of quinoa. And there's a lot of different ways people tell you to cook quinoa. Basically, I use whatever amount of quinoa. I use 1 and then 3/4 again water.
Okay.
Okay. I put a bit of salt, sea salt.
Mm-hmm.
Always use Himalayan sea salt in my kitchen, and about a teaspoon of oil, olive oil, grapeseed oil, something that will just help to keep it from glomming together.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So I've got things divided in thirds, and that's another sort of a rule they tell you. Quinoa, because it's very high in protein, probably keep it to 1/3
Oh, okay.
of what you're making.
All right.
Okay. Seems like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it keeps really well.
Oh,
Keeps
nice.
in the fridge really well. My husband will have it the next day. He takes it out on the boat when he goes fishing, and
Oh,
it's still nice
so
and crunchy.
fishing out on the lake?
Out on Okanagan Lake.
Okay.
He catches a lot of trout.
Trout,
Freshwater
yes.
trout. They come with bones.
And there's nobody but you and him to take them out?
Well, to cook them this way, I prefer to have no bones.
Mm.
We often take them over to my daughter and son-in-law's, and he has a Traeger, so he smokes them.
Oh, nice.
And so when you've done that, then of course they just fall right off the bone.
Right, and you can pull out the skeleton.
Exactly, exactly. So
Is this going to fit in there?
it's probably not going to fit.
Would you like
we'll make it fit.
another bowl, and then we can
Maybe.
transfer things?
Maybe. Oh, you know what? I think we're okay.
Okay.
We're going to be
Well, sound the alarm if you need.
red, yellow, and orange peppers. You know what? We didn't. We're going to need a bigger bowl.
And I need a
That's
bigger
funny.
bowl.
That is funny. Oh, look at that. That is perfect. Look at all those beautiful veggies.
Yeah,
My
because this
gosh.
studio is a real kitchen.
It is a real kitchen. Oh, that's perfect. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
That's so pretty.
Isn't it? It's like a festival in the bowl.
Yeah. Lupe would love this.
Yes. Lupe loves it.
Lupe loves it. Linda's happy too.
Okay. And then I have some onions finely chopped.
Okay.
Again, that's to taste. I like to use sweet onions. They're called. They look like other onions. They look like yellow onions or whatever, but they're called sweet. I soaked these this morning.
Oh yeah, that gets the bite off
It
them,
takes
doesn't
the
it?
bite off of them. Some people soak them and they put sugar in, or they'll put vinegar in
okay.
with the water as well. I just put water,
All right.
and I have a small colander,
Ah,
and I just put them in that, rinse them under the sink, set the colander in a deep bowl with cold water, and let them sit there for a while, and then
Okay.
rinse that a couple times.
nice.
And then the parsley. I just love the parsley. It makes it so nice and light and fresh, and it's got so much vitamin C.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the smell of fresh
And
parsley.
look at that.
It's like spring.
Look at that.
Look at that. So pretty.
You could put other things. I find this is the simpleness of it is just appealing because
Right.
you get the lemon.
Yeah.
You know, you could put the lemon in your dressing, or I just put it in there.
Sure.
And if I've got a lemon on the counter, I'd even put more in.
Okay.
But yeah, you could add chickpeas. You could add
Oh yeah.
just to put anything. You
Yeah.
know? I suppose you could make it with couscous or even rice. I mean, I've done salads with rice before.
Nice.
So that is
Okay.
that.
All right. Now we're making a
And
little
our dressing, yes.
Ah, you've
This
got
is
a
this is
gizmo.
etched because it's the acid from the lemon juice.
Oh really?
Yeah. I make a lot of salad dressings. And again, this is just by guess or by gosh.
Okay.
Okay,
Winging it.
winging it. So with that, we're doing thirds. You know, a third quinoa, 1/3 cucumber, 1/3 red peppers, mixed peppers, a little bit of onion, a whole bunch of parsley, With this, we're going to keep it. Oh, I'm
Like a spoon?
I'm going to need a spoon.
Do you need a measuring spoon or just a spoony spoon?
Just a spoon, thank you.
Spoon.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, that was kind of a crazy question because we established
that's
already
right.
that measuring is for suckers.
And again, it depends on your taste. If you love Dijon, and oh, that's another thing. You could use Dijon on your fish instead of mayonnaise.
Oh, wow.
If you wanted to.
That would give it a bit of spark,
It would
wouldn't
be very tasty, absolutely. So I put about, I don't know, heaping tablespoon or so in there.
You saw a generous blob.
Yep, generous blob.
Do you have any of those old tiny cookbooks where they are using measurements like handful and
I inherited my mother-in-law's
Oh.
cookbooks, and some of them are from who knows when, before,
Right.
you know, the first printing press, I'm sure, where she, because she collected them over the years as well. I'll use the rest of the garlic. This seems like a lot. Maybe I'll use,
it's a big salad.
it's a big salad. So that's the equivalent of a tablespoon and a half, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That looks right.
look about right.
I agree with you.
Again, you can't go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go wrong. It's going to be yummy no matter what, because all of the ingredients are yummy, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Reminds me of something I heard about fruitcake once. Like all these amazing things, and then they didn't like fruitcake. Are you pro fruitcake or anti fruitcake?
I'm pro fruitcake.
Yeah. What's wrong with people?
I don't know. So I'm going to use some of the same seasoning from the fish.
There's the fish.
Because
you know
because
it's going to
here,
go
you
then.
can, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then some of the
Oh, can you say that word?
wisher-washers. Worcestershire.
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 Or Worcester.
Worcester. And again, to taste.
Nice.
It just gives it a little bit of sweetness.
Mm-hmm.
I don't use sugar in my cooking. I buy the equivalent of maybe a cup of sugar bulk every year
Oh, wow.
for when guests come and want sugar in their
Right,
coffee or tea.
yeah.
But I don't use sugar. I don't use honey much either. I'm just not into the sweet tastes so much. And then
A little bit of olive
a
oil.
little bit of olive oil. Now, because you've got the mustard in there and the olive oil, and you give it a good shake, it will emulsify.
Ah, yes.
And this, if you put your finger there,
Mm-hmm.
it keeps it all inside. If you don't,
Have you?
it goes
It feels like it's from experience.
It's from experience, yes. not on purpose. And not on purpose.
We interviewed Habibi in our first season. Lovely couple there. And he was roasting off some eggplant because they make like a roasted, smoky eggplant. They use it in a lot of things. And so I grew eggplant. And one thing I forgot that he had said is like, you've got to lance it before you start to roast it. Because he roasts it whole.
Right?
I forgot to, so it just exploded
I'm just going to
everywhere.
add a tiny bit because it doesn't look like there's going to be quite enough of this.
You know you're playing with real food when sometimes it
to
explodes.
cover that. Yes, right? So yeah, we've got a big salad
Big
there.
salad.
And,
Enough for Renee to have some.
okay. I looked for another one of these in a couple stores recently, and I couldn't find one. So
Check the dollar store. They might.
maybe.
They have wild stuff.
All right, there you
Okay.
go. Would you like to
I want to very much. Do I have to do something to this little lid?
just?
Oh, no. Adorable. Do you see this? It's on a like a door hinge.
Get that out of your way.
So pretty. Should I put all of it in?
Yeah,
Keep
you're almost
going.
there. You're almost there.
I'll keep going.
Beautiful.
There was some more. All right, so now we just stir this in.
There's a bigger spoon there. Maybe that might help. This is.
I do it all.
And that is that. Did we set a timer for
We
that?
did.
Oh, good.
What's it
Good
sitting at?
thinking.
9.
9 minutes.
Yeah, I live by
we're efficient.
timers now.
So if you were chopping this up,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you'd still be probably at the chopping
Oh, we
filing.
would be.
filings.
Yeah.
So 20 minutes pretty much is what you need to chop up your veggies and and get things ready for the
So it's
dressing.
like you can have this dinner ready in half an hour. Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you remember to thaw your fish.
That's right.
If you remember to buy your fish.
Well, and I think I've never tried it, but I'm pretty sure because fish does thaw quickly. I'm pretty sure if you put it in frozen, it might take another 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Nice. Well, let's try it.
I mean, people eat raw fish, right? So
Why not? I do. Sometimes on purpose.
right. So I think better to be under than over, but
Oh yeah, yeah. Like murdering a really great piece of fish by overcooking it.
right.
It's a sad moment.
Absolutely.
All right, let's
So
clear some
that's-
space
That
and
is that.
switch to art gear. Because I know about you doing 3 things: the sort of organizing this community of cats called artists. You have an art studio where you do visual art, and you are a musician as well.
Yes.
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 So
I make sound.
you make sound. she makes some noises, and they're very pleasant. Yeah. So what instruments do you play
Currently, I play cello.
currently?
Currently, yeah.
And in the past,
I've played at guitar, violin,
she's played at
keyboard,
guitar.
penny whistle, barin.
Okay.
Even learned to play the,
brum.
even learned to play the
Neat.
bagpipes.
I hear that is really strenuous. I'm going to move these right out.
It's a technique.
Uh-huh.
And if you don't do it correctly, it can be very strenuous. It does take a lot of work. It takes a lot of focus on the breath.
Okay.
And many pipers get to where they can do circular breathing, which is really helpful.
Oh,
My son is an exceptional piper, and
wow.
when he was taking lessons and he started taking lessons when he was 7.
Okay.
His choice, just
How did that happen? I don't know any 7-year-olds that are like, I
Right?
want to do that.
my dad had passed away, and he had been a piper for most of his life, and I don't know how that came to him either.
Yeah.
It's an unusual instrument. No one prior in our family had played that I know of. Anyway, Dad passed, and he'd always wanted me to play, and I just, growing up and just busy with stuff, didn't get to it. And so I brought his pipes home in an old wooden box, and I tucked them in my closet.
Okay.
And I had 3 little kids, who were 2, 4, and 6, and wasn't thinking much of doing anything but,
Yeah. Doing the little
feeding
kid
kids
thing.
and doing all that. So anyway, Brad was in my room one day, and he saw the box in my closet, and he said, "Mom, what's in there?" And so I opened it, and his jaw hit the floor. He was like, "Mom, I need those." I said, "They're not a toy."
Yeah.
He said, "I don't care. I need those."
Wow.
So I called Doug Arthur, who's passed as well now, who was the current pipe major of the Kelowna Pipe Band,
Okay.
and asked him what he thought. He said, "He's pretty young, but I'll come and meet him."
Okay.
Well, he came, they sat on our couch, they were like this,
Oh,
right from
wow.
the start. And it turns out his dad taught my dad to play
Oh,
back in 1943 or so.
and you found that out through your son taking lessons with him?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So the rest is history. He just loved them. And he was hired to play in Japan for a Canadian festival when he was 18.
Wow.
He was the pipe major for the cadet organization in Vernon for several years. He was the pipe major for the Kelowna Pipe Band for several years.
Wow.
He piped in Scotland, in Edinburgh, on the Royal Mile for the Mary Curry March for Cancer. So he's done a lot of piping. And so
Yeah.
while he was taking lessons and before he got his driver's license, I was taking it, and I thought, these tunes are just running through my head all the time.
Yeah.
I should learn to do this too, so I did. I never got to the point where I'd marched with the band, but
Oh, wow.
I know the tunes. I can play them on a penny whistle.
Oh, I wish I had asked you to bring that, because that would be fun. Or bring a bagpipe.
Yeah.
I've never been close enough to a bagpipe to touch it. And I've always been fascinated.
They are fascinating.
Yeah.
And
it just looks like such a dance of breath and arm and
and
fingers.
there's only 9 notes. And so
okay.
all of the sounds that come from that are made with special fingering and doublings and different things that they do with their fingers to make that beautiful
amazing.
music. And it is beautiful. People joke about bagpipes,
No,
but
I do enjoy it.
they are really quite. If they're played well, they're quite something.
Yeah. Well, McAlpine, I'm genetically
Right.
inclined to.
So so I'm going
Enjoy
to
some
Scotland in
bagpipes.
September. So I'm really excited about
Yes.
seeing the land and the music. I know all about that already. If I
Yeah.
get to hear that's a bonus. But yeah, the land. And I've had people who've become friends online who have seen my art and tell me that it reminds them of their home in Scotland.
Oh my goodness.
So
Well, the
that's-
hills here
Yeah.
feel like sort of like around the Lake Country. Yeah. They- we were at Loch Lomond and Loch Ness, and it's like it could be the Okanagan.
Yeah.
Yeah, just even the dry sage, but they have the gorse and the heather.
Right.
But it's a similar texture and colored plant. It's so
Yeah.
fascinating
I'm
until
just-
it turns purple.
I'm
then
so
it's different.
excited. I'm taking my camera. I'm not taking any paints because I'm going with my sister-in-law.
Oh,
And
nice.
we'll just enjoy the exploration and I'll paint when I get home.
Oh, I
Yeah.
will be
Yeah.
watching your socials, so I hope that you'll put some
Well,
things up.
I'm going to because with my YouTube channel, I want to incorporate, as you're doing, with other
Yeah.
creatives and I will be interviewing some of Kit Duddy, who writes the poems for my work. He's one of
Right.
the poets.
Oh
He's
my
written
goodness.
almost 200 poems for my work now.
Wow.
It's amazing. I just
Oh, yeah, that's going to be exciting.
so
So let's transition into visual arts. So we have a lot behind us, which you've probably noticed, and she has a few more off to the side. Where would you like to start? Do you want to just talk us through, maybe bring them up so that Renee can get a really good look?
Absolutely. Yeah, we can start with this. They're watercolor on paper. I use 100% cotton paper for the bigger pictures. For smaller cards, sometimes I will use the cellulose paper, but the 100% cotton gives me the absorption that I'm expecting to see when I put water and pigment together. And I use a certain palette of colors. Daniel Smith paints are my go-to. They're a really high-grade paint. They granulate beautifully. The colors are rich and vibrant, and a lot of times people will think that it's something other than watercolor.
Because of the vibrancy.
Exactly. I mean, typically in the past, watercolor's been pastel-y,
Right, gauzy.
delicate, and it can be. It still can be. But I'm a little heavy-handed with the pigment sometimes, and I just love that it's got that texture and that feel.
It looks drier than a lot of watercolor that I see. Like I see a lot of blooming and dripping in contemporary watercolor.
Yeah. And that will show more so in that one over there. I think you'll see a little bit more of the softer edges.
Oh yeah, well here you're doing many things at once, aren't you? Like you've got that drifty, bloomy business back there and down here, but you've also
And then a little more
got
defined.
pen. Is that
No,
is that
that's
ink?
that's actually a fine tip brush. I have
Oh wow.
I have a brush that is it's made by a fellow in Seattle. Tracy Levinson is his name. Can't say enough about this gentleman and the way he formulates his brushes. He uses recycled and repurposed materials.
Okay.
So he'll go to garage sales and estate sales and he'll get taxidermy pieces and old fur coats, and rather than
goodness. Hunting for animals
hurt
to
an
pluck.
animal to
Yeah.
for fur,
Right.
you know,
There's already this stuff
exactly.
existing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then
Oh, that's so
the
ethical.
handles are made out of bamboo and
Okay.
waggy is a bamboo from Australia, I think. Beautiful stuff. And the points on some of his brushes are so fine that I can use them just like a fine liner
Wow.
to define tree trunks and branches and things.
I'm just going to let that
All right.
calm down over here while we look at art.
Calm down over there.
Calm down, you.
And so a couple of these have, the circles and the moons, because that was something I woke up one morning thinking, how can I, throw something like that in there because I don't have the steadiest hand to make a circle and then a sun and a moon.
Oh yeah.
So
Circles are unforgiving in art, aren't they?
they really
It's like
are.
If you get
you know?
too wonky.
And this one's, you know, it's a bit, but this is a CD label that I found, and then just played around with some color, and
Yeah.
Again on 100% cotton paper. This one I call Bagel Rising, and
That's
yeah,
amazing.
they're just art is made to be fun, right?
Mm-hmm. And you didn't always work with watercolor, though.
No, I started with alcohol. Well, I started with watercolor, but then took a little diversion into alcohol ink.
Mm-hmm.
I just loved how they just sort of had a way of moving on their own if you
Yeah.
allowed them to.
Yeah, it feels
you
like
could
it's
direct
alive.
them. You could direct them a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
But it's the unknown, I guess, part of that adventure, right?
Right, there you go.
What part
There
of
you
my adventure is going to come out on the page today if I put this on there or that on
go.
there?
Yeah, and don't try and control it too much. Just
That's
let
right.
it do its thing.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
And then I've got, has no circles in it, but it's
but a lot of point.
but a lot of stipply,
Mm-hmm.
just for
It
effect.
looks like it would take forever. Did it?
No,
No?
no.
Oh.
And like I say, because I have my grandsons often,
Oh, yeah.
and they love to paint. They're amazing artists themselves. We spend a lot of time in the studio, but you know, we don't always have the longest time to spend together or the longest attention span,
Mm-hmm.
and so we go quickly. And so that's this is watercolor on canvas,
So what do
applied
you,
with a palette knife or a credit card, or sometimes I use
Oh.
the little tabs off a bread bag.
okay.
They work.
Okay, so if I don't have the real thing, like I often feel like, oh, if I don't have a palette knife, I can't do that technique. But you can use other things that have an edge.
You can use whatever.
You can use
Absolutely.
whatever you want.
Absolutely.
Rules aren't for art.
Sticks, you know,
Mm.
whatever works.
Okay, okay. Ooh, it's got some sheen. Is that from the...
I would have sprayed it
Okay,
just
it's
to
like,
just to keep
ooh,
it from.
Why
yeah.
are we shining? Is it magical?
It's a bit of a shame. You can get iridescent watercolors, which are quite lovely.
Now this feels like Scotland.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got the mistiness,
The
and
mistiness
the
and-
mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the roll.
So I think you know I deal with
so beautiful.
with shapes a lot, and
Yeah.
you know let the water flow, and it doesn't have to look exactly like Boucherie Mountain, but you
Okay.
can tell it's a mountain.
That's
You know,
right.
there's the shapes are there to
Right.
give you that.
It is mountain, not specific mountain.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And then oftentimes it's what you take out
Mm-hmm.
that makes a difference as well.
So how are you taking things out? What's your technique?
Sometimes I'll just use a wadded up paper towel
Oh, okay, and blot?
and just blot.
Okay, and it lifts?
And it lifts, yep,
All right.
absolutely. And as long as there's still moisture there, where it's lifted, it won't leave a hard edge.
Okay.
So it'll sort of soften in.
Can you use masking fluid with this sort of technique?
Uh,
Or is that more
on canvas,
for
I think
something
it would be
else?
more challenging on canvas.
Yeah?
The masking fluid, because it's liquid,
Okay, it would,
would
soak in.
soak in between the
Okay.
holes in the canvas. But on paper, a lot of people use masking fluid.
Mm.
I tend not to, because I've learned that sometimes I'll start and I'll have a great idea and I'll put the masking fluid down, and then life gets busy and I don't get back to it for 2 weeks, and then you can't get the masking fluid off.
Oh, okay.
Takes the paper off, especially if you're using a cotton paper,
Like a
well,
cold
any
press
paper.
cotton.
but the softer the paper,
Okay.
the more absorbent, the more the masking fluid's going to soak in, the harder it's going to be to get it off. So
Oh.
I will often use, I don't think I have I didn't bring one of my birch trees with me today, but I often will use masking tape
Okay.
and rip it and shred it and sort of form shapes of trees,
Oh,
put that down,
yeah.
and then paint everything else all around it, take the masking tape off, then I'll go in with a brush, with the little tab off the bread bag, are really handy for those, because you can go in and dip it in your paint and
Okay.
make those birchy
Yeah,
tree bark
little,
marks and stuff.
uh-huh.
And so that's, that's a way to do it as well.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Do you have anything with you that we could look at, like how the watercolor moves? Do we?
Do.
She has a bag full of tricks.
We do. This is
Oh.
one of my favorite papers. It's Arches. Arche. 100% cotton. This is a block. Very often papers will come loose or in a pad, but this is a block, so it's secured on all sides except for right in the middle. There's a little opening.
Oh.
So I can paint on here. Any paper you use is going to absorb the water. As soon as you get water and pigment on there.
Okay.
So when that happens, it soaks in, the paper expands. The fibers fill up with water, they expand.
Okay.
So what happens is your paper is going to be moving and buckling. So on a block, it keeps it a little more flat.
Okay.
If you paint and leave your painting on the block to dry, it will go right back to where it needs to be.
Oh,
And
okay.
then you can stick a little palette knife or anything in there and peel it off.
Okay. You just kind of go around the edge and it'll come?
Exactly right.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, can I get water for you? What do you need?
I have all kinds of stuff here. With water, I have, because I belong to a couple of paint groups, I have a little to-go kit, right?
Oh, that's fun.
So, but yeah, if you wanted to put just a little bit of water in
Yep,
those,
can do.
half full would be lovely. I don't need the spatula. We could use that.
That's our palette knife.
That would be great.
I wonder about cake decorating tools, because there's a lot of angled things.
Anything. And then you just play with it. Different pressure. Sometimes you'll scrape the paper and scratch it, and that'll make a more permanent line.
Okay.
I will show you this one here. And so this one with these rocks, I used, again, a little palette knife, a little piece of plastic, whatever I could find handy. And when I put the paint on, let it sit for just a couple of minutes to sort of grasp the paper. And then I start scraping it off in order to make the rocks.
Wow.
So
That's gorgeous.
it's handy.
Yeah.
Handy to have those little things. My studio, someone came in one day with a child, and children are so honest, right? And they went, "Whoa, is this ever messy?"
Oh no.
I said, "Well, it's called a working studio. That's what I prefer to call it."
Welcome, child.
This is my paint palette.
Oh yeah.
I don't clean it because my thought is, if I'm painting with maybe 3 or 4 of these colors, and I want to put in some shadows or some darker colors, I don't want to go find a tube of black or gray or something.
Okay.
I'm going to mix the colors that I've already used, so it's the same palette, so it all
so
is cohesive. Yeah,
right.
absolutely. So I like to keep my. This thing's getting worn out. These you can get at any beauty supply store, any craft store. They're used as facial misters, I guess, but
cool.
they're handy to have when you want to. So what that does is it wakens the paints.
Okay.
And because I'm using Daniel Smith paints, and I'm sure there are many other high quality brands that will work, they will go to sleep and be reawakened time and time and time again.
Oh, okay, so you don't get little chunks and dried up
They're
bits?
not, well, I suppose if you left them for eons, but.
Sometimes I forget that I'm doing a project for like 6 months.
Yeah, and that can happen, but they will reawaken. And so it's nice to have, and it's nice to have that juiciness, that rich texture. And if that's, if it's a case where you do want to go in with your palette knife or something, and the paint is a little bit soft and sticky, you can dip your sharp edge in there and pick up what you need.
And then you've got some body to move around.
Exactly right.
Ooh, what a fun looking case
So,
you have.
This is one of my, and this actually came off a bag of lemons or something. And I cut off the little, some of them have the funny little sharp edges.
Yeah.
And then I have a little sanding block in my studio, so I
Okay.
just make the edge not quite as squared off as it would be, so then I can get a finer line if I want to. This is that one of the brushes I was telling you about that Tracy Levinson makes.
Wow. Wow. Whoa.
See how fine that is?
Yeah. Yeah. That
And
points
yet,
right up.
you can paint, you can scumble and paint bigger
yeah.
areas as well if you want to.
Huh. Is that a
So-
real word? Scumble?
Scumble.
It's a good word.
It is.
Yes.
Scumble. We should look that up.
I think we should just like challenge everyone in the world to use the word scumble in a
Right?
sentence today. And not scumball. Like you're not calling somebody down. It's a verb, I think.
Scumble. Can we spell that?
Nope.
So my beautiful trusty, it's a goat hair and synthetic blend. This one's called. But look at that. Look how fun that is.
Yeah.
Just like a piece of natural wood, and it's just it. The minute I got this brush delivered to my door, it was like it was made for my hand.
Yeah.
I just love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then
Yeah,
there's
that's you in a brush.
Yep. And then there's these hake brushes or hake brushes, and they're wonderful.
They look really firm, are they?
They're a little bit firm,
Oh, not as much as it looked like.
but no.
I thought it was like,
But they hold a ton of water.
oh.
So those are good for big washes.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's an artist out of Montreal. His name is Michael Soloviev, and he's coming to town actually in July to teach a watercolor course here for 3 days. So
Where at?
it'll be at the Yacht Club.
Oh, fancy. Do you have to be fancy to get in?
No,
Good.
just say you're with me. They know.
Coming with her.
They know.
I'll just ride your wake in.
Yeah, we don't do fancy. But he has these brushes. He teaches all over the world, and they're
Wow.
similar. So you can get a ton of water on your page, which is helpful. Some people use these. I'm not if you're painting flowers, something more specific,
Okay.
these are great. But yeah, those are
If you had to pick 3 brushes out of your set, which ones would you, like, don't separate me from these?
I think it would be these
yeah.
3.
These two, like, kind of look a lot alike to me.
They're very similar. This one, you see how this one's very like it's got a lot of real estate on the end there.
Right, yeah.
Right?
A big blunt spot.
And when it's wet, it's still pretty thick there.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this one, I didn't get it wet enough.
Oh, yeah, that chisels right up.
So you can, again, make
Yeah.
a fine line or clean off. As I was saying, sometimes it's what you take away. And you can take your brush with that fine edge
Right.
and just run it along. And then you've pulled the paint away and left
Okay.
a lighter line.
Right,
Okay,
right.
So you get some
For the-
definition.
Few places in nature where there's lines. Like shoreline, tree line?
Tree
Top of the
lines.
mountain? Scumble it up.
All right. So
I used the word.
scumble, good for you. Yeah,
Thank you.
I like that.
Oh. I gotta get my head out of your shadow.
Oh, yeah.
I keep getting into your light. Okay, so you're just drifting water
I'm just
kind of
putting
everywhere.
Lots of water. I'm not concerned. If I wanted the whole thing saturated, I would do this.
Right. So you're leaving some areas
leaving
and some
some
have
areas.
more water than others.
Exactly, because
Okay.
the pigment's going to react differently to whether, when it's hitting water or when it's hitting a piece of dry
Oh, okay.
paint or paper,
So
rather.
grab or flow.
Yeah, absolutely. Whoops. So, and you can tilt it. Sometimes these brushes tend to lose a little bit of hair.
So
And
do
I kind of, right? I kind of like when an edge just is kind of,
kind of loose and not really.
yeah, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's do it portrait style rather than landscape. Now you can see probably where the paper is
Yep.
starting to buckle a little bit. Okay,
Will that inform the flow of
a little
the
bit.
paint? Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. You can start to direct that. So this is one of my favorite colors. It's called Mayan Dark Blue.
Oh, yeah.
Use a fair bit of water.
Mm.
I'm doing this a little bit backwards. Normally I would put the yellow in first, but I want you to see what the yellow will do. The quinacridone gold, it's not yellow, it's quinacridone gold. And you can also see here where, if you tilt it, you can see where the water is flowing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pulling the paint with it. Okay. Which can, oh, I guess I don't need that. It can be effective and work to your advantage, right? It can be a stormy kind of sea.
Yeah, yeah, it feels moody already.
This is the quinacridone gold.
Oh my gosh.
Can you see what happens here when you put that on?
Oh wow.
It kind of pushes the other color away.
Yeah.
Right?
And it changes into so many different colors inside of itself.
Absolutely.
Wow, look at that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is kind of a magic, isn't it?
So this will be, maybe this will be the base of my tree line.
That was a little Bob Rossi of you. Well, maybe this will just be that then.
Well, and that's pretty much how it comes together, right? And then, as I was saying, with the paper towel.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and just blot and lift. Oh, okay. So you can pull up cloud shapes.
Yeah. So now we've made some cloud shapes. We've made a bit of a tree line.
Yeah.
Those little hairs that are on there, they're just going to happen no matter what. So they'll come off later when it's dry.
Oh, they will? They'll just fall off?
Absolutely.
Or do you have to do something to it?
You can wipe them off.
Oh,
Don't, yeah,
wild.
absolutely.
You don't have to sand them or something?
No. No.
Just like, that's a horrifying thought.
So if this is going to be a tree line, then maybe it needs a bit of darker shadow work underneath. Don't know what this is. It's pretty white there. We'll just fill it in a tiny bit.
Are you able to combine the alcohol inks with...
Not on paper.
No? Because they need to be on
They
a
need to be
non-porous...
exactly. They need to be on a surface where they can't absorb because it's alcohol.
Right.
It's waterier than water. Basically,
Right.
it's going to go right in, right? So you could do it in layers on Yupo paper or the back of photo paper, same as you would for alcohol inks. Canvas. You may want to treat a canvas with something first. I think there's some, there's a paint. It used to be called Kills or something. They would use it for covering mold and different things. And I think if you put that on a canvas,
Right.
that would
watertights it.
So then you could do some alcohol ink on top of it.
Would the watercolor paint be able to grab on that, or would it just...
You may have to do a little
Slurp
bit
around.
of fiddling with it. There's watercolor ground that you could put on the areas where you wanted watercolor, perhaps. It would be a process, and it would be, I think it'd take a bit of experimentation, but it would be fun to see what would happen.
Yeah, I'm really curious.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so basically that's how a painting comes together.
Yeah. Do you lose time when you're doing this?
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Like time just sort of doesn't mean anything when you're in the middle?
And you know, as much as I love music, I forget to even put music on sometimes when I'm in my studio.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was going to ask you what you're listening to while you're doing this.
Well, as you know, I'm so fortunate to know so many singer-songwriters here just in our community.
True enough.
The music is just phenomenal. And so I would never listen to, a radio station that plays the same 12 songs over and over again, cover songs, because I've heard those, and it's like, I won't read a book twice, I won't watch a movie twice.
Yeah.
It's been there. So I want to, but singer-songwriters, because and we get to see so many of the live performances, it's not out of the can.
Right.
It's
lots of things can happen.
Absolutely, and I love that. So I we'll often do that, and our band October Sky. I've got some rehearsal recordings in my phone that I'll put on sometimes and
Nice.
and just sort of listen with that. My friend John Trevorrow in Scotland sends me crazy bits of music that he's discovered.
Oh,
everything
that's fun.
everything from punk rock to you name it, and so the sky's the limit, you know.
Have you heard any bagpipe punk rock?
Oh yeah.
It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, we have some downstairs
For sure.
for when Rob is feeling ragey.
So, I don't know. I like to fiddle with the clouds a little bit. As much as sometimes I'll leave, like, this is a bloom. This is an edge that the paint has just sort of taken over and done its own little.
It's really quite pretty.
It's a harsher edge, and I don't mind that. Some of the others I might soften. And this paper towel has now become a little bit damp and a little bit colored from what I've taken off. So sometimes I'll just move around with some of that.
Okay.
But you can see where the pigments themselves have pretty much taken over and done some really wonderful things. So this would be the basis of the.
Okay. Well, you keep messing with this, and I will grab us some lunch. What do you say?
Okay. This is another one of my favorite colors in the Daniel Smith line. It's called Undersea Green, and it's just a gorgeous bit of rich, lovely pigment.
Look how gorgeous this is. Fishy, fishy. Say hi to the pretty fishy.
Shall I move my paint?
You can get around. Okay, I'm gonna need to quickly snap a picture of this because Instagram needs to know what to eat. Alrighty. I had knives and forks one day, and then I didn't. Where do you think? Oh, here they are.
Okay.
Oh, that's so pretty. It's turned into a full-on scene.
Yeah.
Looks almost a little bit like Fireline.
Right?
Kind of. In our area, we're all a little jumpy about fire.
That's right. Right. I don't know what I've done with that little piece of plastic that I had, but
Your little clip.
yeah, might be underneath there.
Nope. Under?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay,
Clip be gone.
that's gone. That's okay.
It'll show up.
We have bigger
Oh, hey.
pieces. We have bigger ones.
Credit card.
So that's been sitting for a little tiny bit of time. It's
Yeah.
soaked into the paper a slight bit. So if we wanted to make, we can.
And you're not adding any pigment at all. You're just dragging what's already
I'm just
there.
dragging what's there. Yep.
Oh, that's amazing. I've never seen that done before. That's so cool.
So we're just going to make a little bit of a forest and some. You could, if you wanted to do buildings, you could. This is a bit big for this, but yeah. And then if you want to do the rocks, this is how you.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's amazing. I've always wondered how that's done so that it
Yeah. So now you've got a bit of
looks like that.
rocks hanging out there,
Yeah.
and then you can can go back in and put some shrubbery around if you want. Yeah.
Wow, would you look at that?
If I wanted to take out and define maybe a little bay coming back in there. Clean brush. They call it a thirsty brush. Whoops.
Oh, so because it sucks up the
Exactly. And then you can just go in and maybe that one's not quite large enough. Let's try this one. And we're just going to make it.
Don't I have the cleverest friends?
Little definition back in there. So you get the idea that that's a shoreline. Yeah, I wish I'd had that little piece of plastic, but anyway. And then
We'll find it as soon as we don't need it.
and then you can go in and make some rocks on that far shore.
I see. Wow.
And the rest, I mean, once you get your basic
Yeah.
colors down there, then the rest is just fine tuning it and deciding what you want to
Very nice.
have on the rest of it.
Show Renee. Look. That just happened right here. All right.
Hey,
Well,
terrific.
lunch you?
Awesome.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much, Lynda.
Oh, it was fun.
This is amazing. Yeah, an hour flies when you're
I know, right?
doing crazy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, this has been absolutely great. We don't want to drink the paint water.
Oh, no. That's why you always put your paint water in a see-through glass.
That's right.
I've been in painting groups where I have drank my paint water. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.